man. It is a very rainy, very windy, stormy day here in Long Beach, which I think is actually a good thing because it gives me an opportunity to kind of just chill out on the Gen 2 stuff. Yeah, I think today, instead of going out and trying to catch Pokemon in this rain, we can talk about all the things that have changed or been updated or added with this update, because there is a lot. There is a lot to get through. So, where are we going? 3rd and Elm. First thing I want to talk about is, well, it's something that you may have noticed already. You can see here, if I would just turn around, I'm wearing glasses. There are new customization options available for purchase for your avatar. New hats, I don't know why they didn't go with a standard baseball cap at all. There's the option for a fedora, milady, a top hat, and there's the Team Rocket, or Brian Johnson Classic Newsboy. Personally, I don't really like any of them unless you're trying to troll with an 800 coin top hat. Glasses options, obviously. A masquerade mask, 3D glasses, lots of new shirts, including Blazer, Charizard, Pikachu, team shirts even. That actually looks kind of cool. They got the Steph Curry turtleneck. You got the Warriors colors? Not quite. So anyway, tons of new customization options for purchase. They even have the, look at that. That's nice. I like that. I'm buying it. I'm not wearing my white one today, but here we go. Eventually, this avatar will look a little bit more like me. Now, Cassie's making that face at me. I gotta start eating. But check out the customization options for yourself. Let me know what you guys think. I think some of them are overpriced, specifically the top hat. Yeah. But some of them are reasonable. How do I even... I don't actually know how to eat this. A lot of Pokemon have had their movesets adjusted. They've gained access to some of the new moves that were discovered in the APK a few weeks ago, but it looks like only one Pokemon has had its CP changed, and that's Lapras. As I mentioned yesterday, Lapras' CP was the only one that went untouched after the initial CP rebalance that happened on my birthday, November. But it looks like now Lapras has been updated to follow the new formula, just like every other Pokemon, and unfortunately it did get nerfed because of that. Now, we're just here buying some stuff for the apartment, but we'll go into detail on all the moveset changes once we get back there. Take everything you know about moves and about DPS in Pokemon Go and put it over here. Away. Gone. Forever. Everything has changed, and now we have to learn it all over again. The power, the duration, even the animations of existing moves have been changed, so all that's different, and movesets for existing Gen 1 Pokemon have been altered as well. I'm not going to go into the full list here, but I'll link to a Reddit thread that has all the changes documented there if you want to check them out. Just some highlights. Alakazam can no longer learn Psychic. So that does make a Psycho Cut Psychic Alakazam a legacy Pokemon, Unfortunately, Psycho Cut also got nerfed significantly, so Psycho Cut is really not even that good of a move anymore. Dragonite can also no longer learn Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw, or Dragon Pulse. As a quick move, Dragon Tail has replaced Dragon Breath, and for charge moves, now it learns Hurricane and Outrage. I know some of you will probably be wondering, so existing Gen 1 Pokemon, meaning Pokemon you caught before Gen 2 was released, can evolve to have these new moves. You're not going to evolve a Pokemon now and still get an old move just because you caught the Pokemon before the move changes happened. Okay. Oh. Emergency alert, flash flood warning. This area till 8 p.m. Pacific. It is raining pretty hard. And my apartment is leaking. You hear that? That's water. Gotta get that fixed. By the way, the place has been cleaned now and it's so much better. So much better. But I still have to wait until tomorrow to do the walkthrough with the property management company. But I'm making notes of all the things that need fixing. Anyway, back to move changes. All of these move changes are in effect now, meaning all the moves that are listed as Legacy will not be available anymore. Freshly caught Gen 1 Pokemon in the wild will only have the new moves as options for their move pool. So take a look at the changes, the link's in the description. Remember, I'm going to be going over this in detail very soon to give you guys an idea of who benefited the most from the changes and which Pokemon you should definitely keep as Legacy movesets. But go ahead, check your Pokemon, see what moves have changed, and for now, hold on to anything with a Legacy moveset until we can go into a little more depth about what you should be keeping and what got nerfed and isn't worth keeping anymore. Parasect. Flash flood warning has been extended an hour to 9 o'clock. By the way, I would love to take this hat off so you could see a little more light on my face, but you know how it is. Once you put a hat on, you can't really take it off because your hair looks terrible. Now, along with moveset changes, obviously a ton of new moves were introduced. So I'm just going to quickly go over the best moves for both quick and charge moves in terms of DPS. But if you want to see the full list, again, a link is in the description to the Sylph Roads website where I'm reading all of this information from right now. So for quick moves, the top quick moves are now Dragon Breath, Scratch, Counter, Cut, Tackle. That's a lot of normal moves up at the top. Shadow Claw, Water Gun, Razor Leaf, Air Slash, Bite, Dragon Tail, Iron Tail, Fire Spin, Confusion, Poison Jab, Steel Wing. Those are all the quick moves at the top with DPS over 9 damage per second. And remember, that's just based on the move's base power and duration. Different Pokemon will actually deal different amounts of damage with those moves depending on their attack stats. Charge moves also got a pretty big shakeup. So the top charge moves in terms of damage per second are Brave Bird, Future Sight, Close Combat, Stone Edge, Petal Blizzard, Gunk Shot, Blizzard, Thunder, Mega Horn, Hurricane, Focus Blast, and Overheat. Those are all the charge moves with over 40 damage per second. Charge moves were all reworked, so there are no more 4 and 5 bar charge moves. They all have either 1, 2, or 3 charge bars. That does mean moves like Twister are no longer, well, it's actually still pretty bad. But almost every charge move now deals more DPS than every quick move, meaning every charge move should be usable with the exception of, at the very bottom, Mega Drain, Parabolic Charge, and Wrap, which I'm not sure if any Pokemon even have those in their movesets currently. So besides those 4 at the bottom, every charge move is now usable because it's going to deal better damage per second than your quick move. In the case of a move like Twister at 16 damage per second, it's not much better than the top quick moves, but it is better, meaning you should be using it. Again, check out the link in the description if you want to see all the DPS for the updated moves, but we will be going over this in the very near future, talking about which Pokemon now are going to be the strongest attackers, strongest defenders, all that good stuff, because I know you want to know, and I want to know too, but we got to do the math first. Now, let's move on to eggs for all the new Gen 2 Pokemon. From 2 kilometer eggs, you're going to see Aipom, Chikorita, Totodile, Cyndaquil, Misdreavus, Pichu was moved to 2K, Remoraid, Slugma, Togepi also moved to 2K, Cleffa, Igglybuff, and Leddyba. At 5K, we've seen Elekid, Smoochum, and Magby all move down, and you'll also find Sneasel, Yanma, Girafarig, Natu, Phanpy, Quillfish, Shuckle, Stantler, Tyrogue, Wobbuffet, Wooper, and Dunsparce. And finally, at 10k, we have Gligar, Miltank, Larvitar, Mantine, Mareep, Pineco, Skarmory, and Sudowoodo. And I think that's interesting. So just quickly to talk about 10k, Gligar is not a very strong Pokemon. It'll likely be sort of the Pinsir or Scyther of Gen 2 10k eggs before those were changed. Mantine has very high HP. It's pretty good defensively, but it's not a great 10k hatch. The most interesting ones to me are Mareep and Pineco. Mareep is a fairly common Pokemon in Gold and Silver version, but it seems like they put it in 10k because Ampharos, its final evolution, is going to be the strongest electric type Pokemon in the game, I think. I haven't checked on CP changes since. Ampharos is actually going to come in just behind Jolteon in terms of CP. So I don't quite understand why they put it at 10k, maybe they just needed some more stuff up there. Pineco is also an interesting one, it's a bug type. In the main series games you would find it by using Headbutt on trees. It's not exceptionally great in any way, it evolves to Forretress, a bug and steel type. But anyway, keep an eye out for your 10k hatches, you're definitely going to want Larvitar, Skarmory is going to be pretty good, Miltank is up there. To be honest, it's all exciting right now. And to follow up on the egg changes where baby Pokemon were moved around, Togepi now requires 3 kilometers to walk as a buddy, which is great news for me because I still need 8 more candies. It seems like at this point Togepi was the only Pokemon whose buddy distance was changed. I'm going to put on a lucky egg so we can talk about some new evolution mechanics. For existing Pokemon with new evolutions, all of them required a different method for evolution in the main series games. Some of them used an item and some of them were based on the friendship mechanic, which may or may not be implemented in some way in Pokemon Go, but we'll get to that in a second. For the ones that require items, Pokemon like Slowpoke, you're going to need to find that item from a Pokestop, and right now they seem pretty rare, but there are a lot of reports that people are getting them on their 7-day streak. Mine will be tomorrow, so I'll find out about that. But in the case of Slowpoke, you can see here, you can either evolve it to Slowbro, just as you've always been doing for 50 candies, or you can choose to evolve it to Slowking if you have 1 King's Rock and 50 candies. Same goes for Onix. To evolve to Steelix, you need Metal Coat. For Scyther to Scizor, that's also going to require Metal Coat. Porygon requires an upgrade to be evolved to Porygon 2. And you know what? We've talked about this plenty, so if you get one of those items, just check your Pokemon, check a list, Google it. But there are 2 Pokemon that can be evolved without new items right now, and those are Eevee and Espeon. Eevee and Chansey. We did learn already some new nickname tricks for Eevee, so I'm just going to show you right now. If you want Espeon, the nickname you're going to use is Sakura. And if you want Umbreon, the nickname you need is Tamao. So those are my 2 right there. I've saved these. These were meant to be my Gen 2 evolutions. So let's just do that right now. I have my lucky egg on. So we're going to evolve this, and we should be getting an Espeon out of it. Remember, these nickname tricks are only good for 1 use, so make sure you use them on a high IV Eevee that you definitely want to evolve and possibly power up if you get the right moveset. There it is, that beautiful purple big-eared Espeon. A new entry to the Pokedex, and one of the best psychic types at this point. Confusion and Psybeam. Ouch. Psybeam actually is one of the weaker psychic type moves, so that's kind of a bummer for me. But now let's do Tamao, and we should get an Umbreon out of this. Umbreon, unfortunately, is much weaker than Espeon, but it does have high defense stats. Not sure how good it's going to be as a defender yet, but there it is. Umbreon is my personal favorite Eevee evolution, and I think a lot of people agree because it looks cool. Feint Attack and Foul Play, 2 Dark-type moves for one of the first Pokemon that's actually going to benefit from Stab by using Dark-type moves. I think Feint Attack and Foul Play look like they're actually the strongest Dark-type Quick and Charge moves. So that's a good one there. Remember, those tricks are only going to work once, but there is some evidence from people who have walked 10 kilometers with an Eevee as their buddy, and then evolve that Eevee, the Eevee that is currently your buddy. If you evolve that during the day, it's going to evolve into Espeon, and at night it'll evolve into Umbreon. There are several reports of that. It's not entirely confirmed yet. I'm going to try it out, once I finish walking with Togepi. I'll try that out. We'll see how that's working, because that could be a reliable way to get these two Pokemon after you use the nickname trick once. This is the one. This is the big one. Chansey doesn't require any special items, any tricks to evolve to Blissey. This is my strongest Chansey. It's my highest IV Chansey. And it's going to make a very big Blissey, which I intend to power up immediately. Look at that skirt. Sweet. Zen Headbutt and Psychic. Dang. I'm not sure where that actually ranks on Blissey's moveset, so I'm not going to power it up just yet, but I do have a couple more Chanseys that are worth evolving. Tyrogue is another one that you're going to want to evolve. It evolves into either Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, or Hitmontop, and we haven't figured out exactly what's determining that yet, but there is evidence that it maybe mirrors or parallels the system in the main series games, where if Tyrogue's attack stat was highest, it evolves to Hitmonlee. If its defense stat was highest, it evolves to Hitmonchan. And if they were equal, it would evolve to Hitmontop. But in this case, there are reports online on Reddit from people who say they have Tyrogues whose appraisal said that its HP was its highest stat, and that Tyrogue evolved into Hitmontop. So my Tyrogue right now has attack as its highest stat. And I'm just going to evolve it just to see what happens. If it is by IVs, this should evolve into Hitmonlee, which I don't need any more of, but it's an experiment. And it's Hitmonlee. Doesn't prove anything, but go evolve your Tyrogues. Let me know what your appraisal was and which evolution you ended up getting, so we can kind of, figure out what's going on here. I lied. There is one more. There is one more Pokemon that you can evolve without a new item, because it did also evolve based on friendship in Gold and Silver. Now if I could just find it. Here it is. It's time. It's finally time to evolve my perfect IV Golbat. And before I do that, I just want to say that evolution costs for Zubat and Horsey were both adjusted. So Zubat is a 25 candy evolution now. Horsey is also 25 candies. And then to their second evolution is 100 candies, just like every other Pokemon that evolves evolves twice, 3 different stages. So here we go. Perfect IV Golbat evolving to a perfect IV Crobat. I have no idea what its ideal moves are yet, but it's exciting nonetheless, because Crobat is actually going to be a lot more usable, a lot more viable than Golbat ever was. Also, it just looks a lot cooler. Finally figured out how to close its mouth. Air Slash, Air Cutter. Air Slash is the strongest flying type quick move. Air Cutter, unfortunately, is pretty weak compared to a lot of other flying type moves. I just drifted into range of the Lured Pokestop, so we can talk about catch mechanics that have changed. There's one right there. You saw that new pattern of movement from Magnemite. There are several new patterns of movement. There's that sort of erratic movement that we see from different flying or hovering Pokemon. There are certain Pokemon that will move to one side of the screen and stay there. There are some Pokemon, like we saw with Xatu last night, that will rise to the top of the screen and sort of just hover there or fly there. So there's a lot of new movement, but there are also 2 new berries introduced. Now, I'm going to use, in this case, a Nanab berry, which will calm the Pokemon down and reduce its tendency to move around. So we should see this Magnemite staying still now that we've used that berry on it. Seems like it's working. Unfortunately, you can only use 1 berry per Pokemon, which is kind of a bummer. Nanab berry will calm it down, making it less erratic, and Pinap berry makes the Pokemon drop twice as much candy when you catch it. Now, the reason it's unfortunate that you can't use more than 1 is obviously because you can't double up Pinap and Raspberry on rare Pokemon that you really want to catch and you really want to get double candy from. I'm going to use an Ultra Ball because I want to catch this in the first ball, because there's a new catch bonus for your first throw. If you catch a Pokemon with the first ball you throw, well, I'm not doing it there. Alright, thanks Magnemite. We can at least use Pinap Berry and show you the double candy there. There is an indicator also, as you saw, for which berry has been used on the Pokemon. So you can see that my Nanab berry was no longer in effect, but there is Pinap berry, and we should get 6 Magnemite candy for this. 5. Okay, so it doesn't double it. It increases it. We got 2 extra candy for catching the Magnemite. Perfect. There's another Pokemon at the lure. Pidgey. I'm only doing this to show you the bonus. We're going to Ultra Ball the Pidgey, which is jumping like crazy. And if you do miss with your first throw, that counts as a first throw. You won't get the first throw bonus if you miss. So there it is. 1 ball, caught the Pidgey, and we'll see. First throw is worth 100 XP. Well, it's worth 50. I have a Lucky Egg on right now. So it's worth 50 normally, 100 with a Lucky Egg on. There is also a new critical catch that's been implemented, and that is a mechanic that I actually haven't witnessed yet, but you'll throw a Pokeball, and essentially it'll just shake once and you'll catch the Pokemon. But it's pretty much just random at this point. There's no way of really triggering that or increasing your odds of getting a critical catch. But just so you know, if you see that happen, that is a new mechanic that was added to the game. On your summary page, there are 2 new medals, one for Johto, where you're going to need to catch 70 Gen 2 Pokemon to get the gold medal. And there's also a new medal for the Dark-type Pokemon that have been added. Dark types are going to be Umbreon, Murkrow, Houndour, Houndoom, Tyranitar, and Sneasel. Sneasel is the last Dark-type Pokemon, so there's not a ton of them, but, you know, you'll make progress on that as you play. And remember, there is code in the game that will allow you to unlock certain items by completing medals. That hasn't been implemented yet, as far as we can tell, but there's code in there, so eventually these medals will probably mean something. On the subject of catching Pokemon, you are now going to earn more candy for catching evolved Pokemon in the wild. So a normal catch has always been worth 3 candies, but now if you catch a first evolution, that means the second stage of a Pokemon, that's going to be worth 5 candies. And if you catch a second evolution, the third stage of a Pokemon family, that is worth 10 candies in the wild. And speaking of catching Pokemon, Togetic has been confirmed to be spotted in the wild, but apparently it's harder to catch than Dragonite. Lots of reports also that the baby Pokemon are available in the wild, but I haven't actually seen any proof of that, so if you have a screenshot of any of the baby Pokemon showing up in the wild, please feel free to send it over. In terms of other wild Pokemon sightings, the only 2 Pokemon from Gen 2, besides legendaries, that haven't been spotted in the wild yet are Smeargle and Delibird. Smeargle is a unique case because the only move it learns naturally is Sketch, which allows it to permanently learn the last move used by its opponent. So right now we're thinking that might come later, sort of like how Ditto did. It's going to have a special interaction in the game, and possibly, if you check out this article in the description on Pokemon Go Hub, possibly tied to an event. Delibird, we're not sure where that is. It does have a signature move present, which either heals or damages the opponent, but there's no reason why that wouldn't be released alongside everything else at this point. It's possible, maybe, that Delibird is actually the Antarctica region exclusive, but I don't know. Someone's probably spoofed there by now to try to find it. And speaking of region exclusives, it seems like Heracross is potentially the Central and South American exclusive. Currently, it only appears below the line where Tauros's region boundaries are cut off. So you are actually able to find Heracross in South Florida. But Heracross has been sighted all the way down as far as Argentina. So it seems like Heracross at this point is the Central and South American region-exclusive Pokemon. Unfortunately for Africa, it seems like they don't have one at this point. Girafarig would have been an obvious choice, but it has been spotted elsewhere outside of Africa. In terms of other spawn changes, Ditto has been confirmed to come from Sentret, Hoothoot, and now Yanma. There's proof of all 3 of those Pokemon transforming into Ditto. At this point, we haven't seen proof of anything else transforming into Ditto, but for now it is those 3. And I'm just now seeing a post on Reddit that says you're also going to get extra Stardust for catching evolved Pokemon in the wild. There's a screenshot of someone getting 300 Stardust for catching a Ledian in the wild. Unknown is also available worldwide. It's been spotted all over the world. I think Reversal has seen 3 of them. It's been confirmed in the US. So it's all over there. No word yet on whether you can catch every alphabet letter and every symbol all over the world, or if certain letters are only going to be available in certain places. But for now, you can at least catch Unknown everywhere in the world that we know of. And one final note on spawns, I did mention this yesterday, but a nest migration did occur shortly after Gen 2 launched. Not every nest was changed. The nest here at the Pike remained Venonat throughout the launch, and to today, it's still a Venonat nest. But some Gen 1 Pokemon nests did become Gen 2 nests. So check the Silph Nest Atlas, again, in the description. Check out if any Gen 2 nests have been reported near you. For now, though, I think that just about covers the extent of what we know that has changed with the Gen 2 release at this point. There might be more changes that we haven't discovered yet, but as of right now, 5:56 p.m. on Friday, February 17th, this is what we know to have changed in Pokemon Go. Now, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from this. Now, stay tuned because there is a lot of new information coming out regularly on Gen 2. But anyway, stay tuned. Tomorrow will be exciting regardless. I'll see you then.